amazing.
And welcome to the most must-see show to ever hit the Bedford TV airwaves, or any airwaves that matter. North, south, east, west, frontwards, backwards, frontwards, diagonally, sideways, any which way you look at it. Episode 155 of The Wrestling Connection. Brought to you by Bootios. They make sure your connection ain't booty. And I'm your host, as always, your adorable felon, your connection to the wrestling world, and your 11-time brand new WK King of Pay-Per-View champion, Mr. Ken Hill. Alongside me, as always, the lovely Miss Julie Antresian.
Hello.
And of course, just slightly off screen, the infamous Mr. Greg Dolan, and the Wrestling Connection's one-stop magic shop, Mr. Nick Giglio.
They stepped out to grab their lunch.
Of course. All right, so Julie will be just me and you for the duration.
Yes, and a little different today. We do not have the camera on the control room because we had to take it out for a shoot, so you only have my voice today.
Of course. Well, it's a lovely voice as is, so I think we'll make do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so this past Sunday was SmackDown's solo pay-per-view, the last solo SmackDown pay-per-view before WrestleMania, the Elimination Chamber, and it was a very interesting Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, to say the least. We have a lot to go. We have a lot to sort through right here. We'll start things off with, of course, the kickoff match. So let's just jump into things right here. This one came up last minute, so we weren't able to find a photo for it. But we had Mojo Rawley facing off with Curt Hawkins. Now, the thing about this match was, Zack Ryder's on the mend. He's on the disabled list. So the other half of the Hype Bros, Mojo Rawley, found himself in singles action. Now, supposedly, the rumor floating through the WWE the wrestling grapevine is that WWE has a vested interest in Mojo's potential as a singles competitor, so they want to test him out. So the best thing to do, put him on a kickoff show, put him up against Curt Hawkins, a former tag team partner and rival of his current partner, Zack Ryder. So that being said, it was kind of a paint by numbers type match. Mojo got the win with a tilt-a-whirl power slam. He had his usual hype brand of energy. So there was that. So on the one hand, it wasn't really a showcase for Mojo as a singles competitor. But on the other hand, it's good that Mojo will have some time to himself to establish himself in the singles division before Ryder comes back from his unfortunate leg injury. All right, so moving on from there, we had the first match of the main show for the Elimination Chamber, which was Mickie James versus Becky Lynch. There we go. All right, so this one was a good match. It was a good match per se. Mickie clearly hasn't lost a step since coming back to WWE. Clearly, her 7 years of wrestling for Impact Wrestling, and Japan, and all over the world has certainly helped her over the years. It certainly kept her in ring shape. Unlike what a certain SmackDown commentator by the name of David Otunga originally thought, saying that Mickie had not wrestled for 7 years and was suffering through ring rust. Yeah, David, for a lawyer, you need to do a little more fact digging before you go spouting off like that. Just a little word of caution for you. All right, so that being said, all right, Mickie actually, I thought, displayed some really interesting psychology here in this match. She turned Becky's usual arm work, she turned Becky's brand of technical wrestling against her, working on Becky's arm throughout the match, not only trying to not get into Becky's head, but also show her veteran savvy and to keep the disarmer out of play. Now, that did work to an extent, only for Becky to pull out a last-minute roll-up and a jackknife cover and get the what many thought was a surprise victory over here in Mickey's singles first singles match back in WWE. Now, I'm not totally against it because Becky herself needed a rebound coming off her loss to Alexa Bliss for the women's championship. But I can understand the frustration that you have Mickey's solo return to pay-per-view, and she lost. So now she gets the win back. She got the win back later this Tuesday on SmackDown. So now they're at one apiece. So obviously there's clearly a rubber match in store here. So with any luck, we should be able to find out whether whoever comes out of this on top will be next in line for a SmackDown Women's Championship match. For more on this, let's take this over to Miss Julie. Julie, what were your thoughts on this match? The outcome and just the match itself. How do you feel about Becky coming on top over Mickey?
I like it. I like Becky. Woo. I like. Sorry, I'm having trouble with this microphone. I like Becky coming out on top. Definitely, she's been around for a long time, and I like to see her winning some matches. I've always liked her. Do you not like her?
I've always liked Becky. That's not the issue here. The issue is just that you had Mickey making her solo return to pay-per-view, and typically when that happens, I think it's because of the cell phone. I think that's what's causing the. I think that might be what's causing, or I'm not sure. I'm not a technical person.
All right, go ahead. I'll stay far away. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so you had Mickey making her solo return, and typically that means she gets the win right here. So now it's kind of like you're kind of taking a step back by giving her the win against Becky on SmackDown. So why not just give Mickey the win to start right here, and then have Becky get her win back on SmackDown? That way, the 50-50 booking makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
Here you're just taking a step back and just saying, oh, well, Mickey can beat her on SmackDown, but she can't beat her on a big stage.
Right.
Whereas with Becky's been established for the last couple of years, so her taking a loss on pay-per-view wouldn't hurt her nearly as much as Mickey, who's making, like I said, her solo return to pay-per-view.
Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties with this.
You think it might be because of the earrings?
No. No. But anyway, let's keep going.
Let's keep going on to the next women's match, which was Natalya versus
Nikki Bella.
Now, I can understand why this didn't start out as a brawl. Considering the personal animosity, most people were expecting a brawl, but the other part of this was Natalya questioning just how good of a wrestler Nikki was. So I can understand why at the start it was more about grappling and kind of like testing each other and seeing who could outdo the other on the mat. So that's why you saw a lot more headlocks and mat wrestling rather than, throwing punches and kicks and cat fighting all over the ring. That didn't actually come until later, like near the end of the match. And you saw Natalya's surprise that Nikki was able to keep up with her in that regard as far as technical savvy, and even busting out her boyfriend John's STF, which really took Natalya by surprise. I thought was a nice touch of irony right there, just with how much Natalya has been talking up Nikki's relationship with John Cena.
Yeah, she's always doing that. And I see you, you can't see me. She's always doing that, taunting her in her face.
Exactly, and then you had the ending where they were brawling out at ringside, which ended up resulting in a double countout. So, and I like what JBL said. Ultimately, after 15 minutes, nothing was resolved. Nothing, like he lampshaded the fact that like this ultimately didn't solve anything. Now, what I thought was interesting was the post-match activity between these two, where Nikki was talking about her frustration with Natalia. Natalia assaults her from behind. They keep beating each other up, and you see Maurice, Mrs. Wife, in the background getting her makeup done. Nikki gets knocked into Maurice and causes the makeup powder, like foundation powder, to spill over Maurice. So, and considering like the tag team match that's been talked about in the room on the wrestling rumor mill, Miz and Maurice versus Nikki and John, you have to think that considering that a Falls Count Anywhere match was just made between Natalia and Nikki for next week's SmackDown. Okay, is there some interference? I'm sorry, is there some?
I'm wondering if maybe I should change your mic. Maybe it's that.
No. Mine's coming in just fine.
But no, I don't know of any other interference.
All right. Okay, so that being said, I mean, how do you feel about that supposed mixed tag match at WrestleMania? Because, I mean, on the one hand, it would be an interesting way to kind of restart the whole Miz-John Cena feud from a few years back. On the other hand, Maurice hasn't been active in a WWE ring in about 7 years. This entire time she's been back, she's just been Mrs. Valet. So
Right. Well, they're obviously trying to do something with the wags of wrestling, if you will, wives and girlfriends.
Exactly.
And that's what they have in common.
Right. So and then on top of that rumor, there's the one that supposedly once Nikki and John win that match, that there will be some sort of proposal from John to Nikki in the ring. So, I mean, I gotta ask you right there. I mean, one, that clearly sounds like a shill for Total Divas and Total Bellas, without a shadow of a doubt. The second thing, do you really think that's a good idea?
Well, I guess for rate, it depends on who you ask. If you ask Stephanie for ratings, yeah, it's a good idea.
Well, I mean, the ratings don't even really matter because it's WWE Network, so it's just a matter of how many views. I mean, pay-per-view ratings don't really matter anymore. It's just as much as how many people are actually, watching.
Yeah, they're probably going to pitch them to be, the royal couple of wrestling.
I mean, and the other thing is you have John taking time off post-WrestleMania, so maybe that's where this all ties in. What if Nikki says yes, or what if Nikki says no? Then what? Then what happens? Like, do they retire? Do they walk off into the sunset? I mean, there are a lot of like I wouldn't say like exciting, riveting, but interesting scenarios that would come out of such a thing. Honestly, I think a proposal just from just a live aspect would be a bad idea, because the crowd would be all. I mean, you got an international crowd at WrestleMania.
They don't want to see that.
That would be a bad idea.
Because they don't want to see that. They want to just see wrestling.
They just want to see wrestling. They just want to see entertaining sports-like activity. They don't want to see like a proposal. I mean, because here's the thing, they're going to try and go for a Macho Man Elizabeth moment, and unfortunately, that Cena and Nikki doesn't even come close.
Right.
Because, I mean, Elizabeth was a beloved figure of WWF back in the day, and the moment she and Macho Man got married reunited and eventually got married was one of the most it was one of the more fulfilling romantic storylines in professional wrestling history. Whereas with Nikki and John, it's basically, will they get married? Won't they get married? Will they get married? Won't they get married? What does John feel about all of this? All right, John's never going to want to marry you. Yeah, that sounds more like a romantic plot tumor than anything remotely close to what we had with Elizabeth and Randy Savage.
Oh.
So I'm frankly hoping they don't do it, because I mean it's just gonna be like last year, where you took up unnecessary time with these ridiculous promos and skits, and this would just be another one right up there. I just don't think it'd be a good idea. All right, so moving on from there, we come to the third match, the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Alexa Bliss defending against Naomi. Now,
This was
one,
amazing.
This one was another, just like her song, yeah, just like Naomi's song, right? Amazing. But it was a solid match. It was a very solid, I think, like 3.5 star type match between these two. Alexa, I feel like, has been very underrated on the SmackDown Women's division, just for like how much she's come up as the no nonsense, cocky heel, which I think really fits her very, very well, very opportunistic, and Naomi has just been kind of on the cusp. But like everyone talks up her athleticism and how she's one of the best women to never have been never been champion. But, and again, and I talked about this last week. They're going to be in Orlando for WrestleMania. And, Orlando, Naomi's hometown. And I thought the best thing to do would be to hold off the championship victory until Orlando, so you could have a much more heartwarming, a much more fulfilling victory for Naomi. Because, it'll be great for her to walk into WrestleMania, to walk into her hometown as women's champion. But I feel like it would have meant so much more if she had actually won the championship there. Here, it doesn't do anything for her. And it's just another case of hot-shotting the championship right here. You went from Becky to Alexa to Naomi. And no one's really had a solid reign with it. Admittedly, this is my problem with both women's championships, is that Charlotte's got an undefeated pay-per-view record, but every month on Raw, like every couple weeks in between, she loses it on Raw. And she gets it back, but it's a matter of hot potatoing. It's the same thing right here. How do we know that next week Alexa's just not going to take the championship back from Naomi?
We don't know. That's just what they do.
They could do the reverse of that. They could have the champion lose on pay-per-view, then have her win it back on TV.
Right.
They could be going the opposite right here, and that makes it even more pointless for a championship switch.
Well, I'd like to say Naomi is my new favorite.
Well, no, yeah, look, I said,
her intro was amazing.
Oh no, she's got a great intro, and everyone's talking about how her WrestleMania intro is going to be off the charts.
Oh really?
Oh,
I didn't hear that. Yeah, her intro was amazing. The glow in the dark, her athleticism is unbelievable.
Well, yeah, that's the intro she has for every
gymnast.
For every match.
I really like her.
I'm happy for her. I'm not saying I'm not, but okay. I'm just saying it would have meant so much more if she had won at WrestleMania. That's all I'm pretty much got to say on that.
Right.
All right.
Moving on.
So moving on from there, we come to the tag team turmoil match. Now, this one's kind of had some kind of like back and forth reviews. Some thought it was a really good. Some thought it was a fun match. Others thought it was plotting, that they just took too long with some, and that most tag teams didn't really get a chance to establish themselves. It didn't really matter because the tag team division hasn't really mattered for the last few weeks. American Alpha admitted as much. They haven't had anyone step up, and then suddenly you have the whole tag team roster step up and say, "Oh yeah, we all want opportunities." So yeah, here's the tag team turmoil match. You had Slater and Rhino in it for the first half, clearing out Breezango and the Vaudevillains. Then you had the Usos come in, take out Heath and Rhino. Then you had American Alpha come in fifth and kind of like pull one over on the Usos, who beat them up and left them practical sitting ducks for the Ascension. And then you had the Ascension come within an eyelash of winning the tag team titles, only for American Alpha to come back and beat them and retain the tag team titles. Now, for one, that doesn't do any favors because, we have, aside from their 12-man tag team victory on SmackDown, we have no reason to believe that the Ascension posed any sort of threat to American Alpha, and they had to have the Usos lay them out just so Ascension would have a remote chance of winning. That doesn't say a whole lot for the Ascension, who were supposed to be the longest reigning tag team champions in NXT history, and yet they've done nothing but spin their wheels since coming to WWE and ending up on SmackDown. And then, I mean, if you really wanted to establish American Alpha right here, if you really wanted to establish the tag team titles, why not have them go first? Why not have them run the gauntlet in tag team turmoil? Something which has never been done in WWE history. No team in WWE history has ever run the gauntlet, started out first in tag team turmoil, and never won. So that would have been a great precedent to set by having American Alpha start out first and run the gauntlet through all the tag teams. Yeah, it would have diminished the other tag teams, but it doesn't matter because, okay, none of them have really mattered up to this point anyway, but it would have been nice. It would have been very nice to see American Alpha get some serious street cred and make the tag team titles seem like worth something. So now, I mean, at the very least, you've got American Alpha and the Usos rehashing their old feud from late last year when the Usos tried to take the American Alpha out of the tag team tournament to crown the new tag team champions. So now you're kind of revisiting that, which I thought was good, okay, because there's some unresolved tension between the two teams. So I think it'll be a very fun physical feud going into WrestleMania. All right. I mean, as for the rest of the tag teams, I mean, okay, again, the Ascension doesn't matter. I mean, I'm surprised Slater and Rhino are still together. I thought they were going to break up months ago. I mean, Breezango's just kind of, we're just looking forward to Breezango just to seeing what crazy outfits they'll wear. Like we saw, like they were dressed up like milkmen this past Sunday. And then you got the Vaudevillains who are just, well, the Vaudevillains. How you doing? All right, so I mean, like I said, it was a very middle of the road match for me, just overall. All right, so now we move on to the handicap.
I'm
match.
sorry, Ken. What were the Vaudevillains like?
Well, they're the Vaudevillains. They're like old timey guys or whatever. Because I mean, they were popular in NXT, but okay, again, WWE's kind of just had them spinning their wheels, just like most of the tag teams. It's been frustrating.
Very. All right, moving on.
Moving on. All right, so we had the handicap match. Dolph Ziggler versus Apollo Crews and Kalisto. Now, you guys are going to have to explain this one to me. I mean, I'm the wrestling guru, and I still don't get this. You have a handicap match with one heel versus two faces. Now, typically it's two heels versus one face.
There's actually a face missing.
No, there's Kalisto. Yeah, I know, the mask. Ha ha. Very funny. You're hilarious. You're right, Julie. All right. So the point being is you had two baby faces and Kalisto and Cruz versus one heel and Ziggler. Now, admittedly, Ziggler said, "Oh yeah, I could beat both at the same time," and Bryan said, "Okay, prove it." Put him in a handicap match. But again, the logic makes no sense right here because here there's no good outcome out of this. If Ziggler wins this match, it makes Kalisto and Cruz absolutely incompetent as babyface wrestlers. If Kalisto and Cruz win, it would make it would say, "Oh yeah, we needed two fresh babyface wrestlers to beat one over the hill heel." I mean, so, and that diminishes them even more and doesn't do Ziggler any favors either because it takes whatever momentum he had from his heel turn and just breaks it to a screeching halt. So there was no good outcome right here. Admittedly, they did try to do something interesting by have Ziggler take out Kalisto right before the match and then have him concentrate on Cruz, only to have Kalisto limp back down the ringside, and as soon as Kalisto gets the tag, acts like that he wasn't injured at all and just does his flippy stuff. I mean, okay, Kalisto, it's called selling. It's called acting like you're hurt because you just got thrown into the Titantron. Yeah, learn to sell. Actually,
Sell it.
you could probably take some
Sell,
lessons.
sell. Are they selling? Then buy.
Yeah, okay, no one's yeah, that's the point because he's not selling, no one's buying. No one's buying that Kalisto is a good wrestler.
I don't want to buy anything or sell anything or
No. All right.
process anything bought or sold.
Okay, moving on.
sell anything
Moving
bought or
on. Before we go, before we have your non sequitur of the day. All right, so the point is, Cruz and Kalisto got the win over Ziggler. Ziggler goes nuts on them. Actually, Brian actually called this. I remember this. Brian,
I'm sorry, his name is Byron Forrington, the 49th.
I call him Brian Dorrington II, but yeah, you can, I mean, whatever floats your boat. All right, so Brian actually called the outcome of this match. He called not only that Apollo and Kalisto would get the win, but Ziggler would snap and go nuts on them with steel chairs, actually going so far as to Pillmanize, that is, put Cruz's ankle in a steel chair and stomp on it repeatedly, injuring Cruz and trying to take him out. Then we had a very solid promo from Ziggler on SmackDown. Very emotional, aggressive promo saying, okay, he's tired of everyone trying to, the new generation trying to show him up and trying to show off over him. So he's going to single-handedly take out the new generation one at a time. So that's good. We got some fire from Ziggler, but here's the thing. We need wins from Ziggler for this to mean anything. If Ziggler can't get wins, then his promo and then his actions at an Elimination Chamber mean absolutely nothing in the long run. So for Ziggler to establish any sort of threat, he needs to start getting wins, along with what he's doing post-match with the steel chair. That's what we need to see. All right, so moving on from there, we come to Luke Harper versus Randy Orton. Now, I'll say this. I liked this match. Harper versus Orton, I thought was a great... We got it? There we go. Okay, yeah, you got Byron stuck in Luke's beard right there. You might want to tug him out. There you go. You got to make sure there aren't any beard hairs sticking to him. Okay. I thought this was a great presentation for Harper. He looked very aggressive, matching Orton move for move, matching for his intensity.
Bryce Harper?
No, Luke Harper.
Sorry, thank you.
Luke Harper. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Kim.
I better not see a Bryce Harper picture on there. Don't even think about it. I know you two. Don't even think about it.
Harper Lee?
No Harper Lee, no Bruce Harper, no Bryce Harper, none of that.
What about Anna Kendrick?
No. Kendrick's not even on SmackDown.
I thought he was.
He's on Raw.
Oh, no, there was a match to transition him to SmackDown. I'm sorry, I remember. Okay,
Oh, my God.
Moving on.
Oh, God. Nick,
Anna.
Come on. Get the program. Come on.
I try my best.
Yeah, put down the spork.
I read about it in Harper's Bazaar.
Are you done? Are you done with the puns?
I can go forever, but yeah, I'll be done.
Okay, thank you. So the point is, I thought this was a great solo presentation for Harper. He has been underrated for the last couple of years on not just on SmackDown, but in WWE as a singles competitor. I mean, we saw some of the great feuds he's had in the past with Dean, like I said, with Dean Ambrose, with Dolph Ziggler, and Randy Orton, and along with the Usos. Just everyone. I mean, the fact that this guy, Luke Harper, can move like he's a big guy, 265, 275 pounds, and he can move like a cruiserweight, which is scary for a man his size. So, all right, so
Yeah, Ken, what's wrong with your microphone?
I'm not having a problem with it. It's working just fine.
All right, hold on. I'll be right there.
All right.
Keep going, though. I'll be right there.
Okay. So the point.
First, my food in my mouth.
All right. So I mean, Orton did get the win. Obviously, Orton had to get the win to keep his momentum going into WrestleMania. He's in the WrestleMania main event, which makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, that's fine. Tugging at it. And it's upside down. There we go.
Oh, that sounds so much better. All right, so, all right, yeah, let's just get that off. Okay. All right, so, like I said, we had Orton get the win right here, but it was a very impressive victory. You had Harper closing in, even getting 2 back-to-back super kicks on Orton, and you had to watch them just because one of the things that's underrated about Randy Orton is his ability to sell. Like I said, his ability to sell those big moves. And it just seemed like that Harper might actually pick up the victory right here, only for Orton to get that last-minute counter and hit the RKO for the win. So like I said, a very impressive showing by Harper. We saw his presence on SmackDown, and we have a certain announcement concerning the WWE Championship. It'll be interesting to see Harper's direction going into WrestleMania in the next couple weeks. All right, but speaking
So interesting.
Speaking of the WWE Championship, we come to the main event, the Elimination Chamber. Yes. Now, admittedly, I mean...
Wilt Chamberlain?
Oh, my God.
I had to say it. We're all done.
You sure about that?
No.
If there are any more puns, get them out of your system now.
I can't think of any right now about Chamber, so we're just going to... Chamber of Secrets, I'll do that. But,
Yes, Harry
but
Potter.
I think I'm
Very
done.
good.
Keep going, Ken.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you had the Elimination Chamber. You had the brand new Elimination Chamber, when they were talking about the new Elimination Chamber, they talked about how it was like more sleek, how it was more streamlined, it was more square, which apparently confused Mauro Ranallo because he called it Hell in a Cell a number of times throughout the match, which I guess was understandable considering it does kind of look like Hell in a Cell, but still no excuse. Then you had the padding on the outside instead of the steel grating, which meant that they could do more on the outside, which I actually thought was a nice touch. The other thing was that this was a great match. I think this was one of the better Elimination Chamber matches in recent memory, just because everyone did their role here so well. I mean, the first thing you had was you had Cena and AJ Styles starting out the match. And that I thought it was a great callback to their feud from the last year, from Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, Money in the Bank. I thought it was I thought it was a nice touch. Then you had Dean Ambrose coming in, doing his all wild, crazy, lunatic type stuff, diving off the top of the chamber pods, like taking all sorts of unnecessary risks. Then you had Baron Corbin coming in, steamrolling everyone. You had Ambrose picking up the surprise victory on him. You had Corbin absolutely mauling Ambrose, throwing him through the chamber pods, laying him out with end of days, leaving opportunistic Miz to come in, get the pinfall on Ambrose. So, I mean, in that right there, you already had a setup for Baron Corbin challenging Dean Ambrose for the Intercontinental Championship for WrestleMania. So right there, you already had a WrestleMania match set up, which I thought was great. Then you had Miz get eliminated. Then surprise of surprises, it comes down to Cena, AJ, and Bray. And we all thought that there were going to be some sort of shenanigans in this match, that we thought maybe Miz was going to get involved and cause Cena to get eliminated. But instead, we just had Bray Wyatt straight up eliminate John Cena. Clean as a whistle. Bray hitting John with Sister Abigail, getting the 1, 2, 3. I thought it was a big surprise to not just myself, but to the audience. They let them stun for a moment before they started going nuts and chanting for Bray. And then I thought it was an interesting ending right here. You had pretty much heel versus heel. You had Bray versus AJ. You had it coming down to the wire. I thought was a nice ending right here where you had AJ go for the phenomenal forearm. Bray counters into Sister Abigail, gets the 3 count, and wins his first ever WWE singles title, the WWE World Championship. Now, I could be modest. I could just move on right here, but I just want to tell
But you
some-
won't.
Oh, no, I won't. To a certain Mr. Forrington,
Byron, the 49th.
Mr. Forrington, the 49th, who said that they were going to have John Cena win and swerve all of us hardcore fans and have John Cena versus Randy Orton for the 1,000th time at WrestleMania. Oh, okay, Mr. Forrington, who's holding the gold now? Right here. Right here. Mm-hmm. And it was funny. As soon as the pay-per-view was over, I get a text from Mr. Forrington telling me, I don't guts it anymore. I'm declaring my retirement. I'll see you in the WK Hall of Fame. And I mean, come on, man. I mean, I've had some bad losses before, but did I ever once contemplate retirement because I don't guts it anymore?
You don't think so?
Nope. Because not only do I still guts it.
You're kind of still the host.
Yeah. Not only do I still guts it, I guts this. So there. So bottom line, Bray Wyatt. I mean, it's interesting the last 3 days, like from Sunday to this past Tuesday. You had Bray Bray eliminate both John Cena and AJ Styles, the two established top stars on SmackDown, to win the WWE Championship. Then this past Tuesday, you had him forced into a triple threat match with John and AJ, who both had legitimate rematch clauses for the championship. And Daniel Bryan decided, hey, you know what? Let's just make it a triple threat match, but give you both your championship opportunities at the same time. And despite an assault from Luke Harper on Bray Wyatt, despite taking a Styles leg drop through the announce tables and 2 attitude adjustments from John Cena, Bray still comes out with the WWE World Championship, pinning John Cena again, clean. So in the span of 3 days, he's pinned John Cena twice, beaten AJ Styles to win the WWE World Championship, and overcame both of them in the same match. And then just to top things off on SmackDown, you had Randy Orton, remember, Royal Rumble winner Randy Orton and member of the Wyatt family, come out following the match. And everyone's thinking, I was thinking right here, okay, this is where Orton drops Wyatt in RKO, declares his intention to challenge for the WWE World Championship and say, I finally broke up your family, so now it's just you and me. We think that's going to happen. And what does Orton do? He pledges his allegiance to Bray Wyatt and tells him...
And to the Republic?
To the Republic of Wyatt, yes.
For which he stands?
Mm-hmm. One nation, under the buzzards, with fear and injustice for all. I imagine that's how it would go.
I'll give you kudos for that. Nice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right, but so Bray has Randy Orton. Randy freaking Orton, cowed under the shroud of the Wyatt family, has Orton refusing to challenge his master, Bray Wyatt, for the WWE World Championship. So now, what do Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan do? They make a battle royal for next week. Whoever wins the battle royal challenges Bray Wyatt for the WWE World Championship. And you would have to think this is where Luke Harper comes into play right here. Because if Luke Harper wins and earns the right to challenge Bray Wyatt, you would have to think Randy Orton would actually accept the match just to keep Harper away from winning the championship. So then you would have your Wyatt family triple threat, so to speak. The Wyatt family explodes. So like the mega powers explode. So there you go. And I thought that was great. Okay, you don't ruin the storyline. You don't ruin the Wyatt Orton storyline just yet. You keep it simmering. You keep it moving along towards WrestleMania. And throwing Luke Harper into the mix will make things far more interesting than just having it just straight up be Orton versus Wyatt. I thought that was a great touch at the end, following the triple threat match on SmackDown. I thought that was great. All right, now before we sign things off for today, we have a couple of interesting pieces of news right here that I want to go over with you in today's this week's Dirt Sheet Dilemma. The first being this past Monday on Raw. We had the Chris Jericho's Festival of Friendship. Now, just to warn you, this first photo might be a little bit questionable for younger viewers, so...
Oh, that one. Okay.
Yeah, well, no, not that one. Not that one, the Chris Jericho one. First one.
I can't see the things are too small.
All right, well, first one, Dirt Sheet Dilemma 1. Yeah, just to warn you, it might be a little art.
Oh, that's hilarious, though.
Yeah, it is. It was the creation of Kevin.
Yeah, well, we'll get you out of the way. Here you go.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, so. Yeah, it's just like Jericho said. It's art. You don't
that's
need.
hilarious.
It's art. You don't need pants. You can hang it. You can hang it in your house. And Owens, I thought, was hilarious here, saying, my 2 kids are going to see this, right? I mean, I thought the Festival of Friendship, I mean, if you remember, like, this segment way back.
Sorry, just showing the picture.
I know. It's hilarious. I see, even Penn's happy. He loves it, too. No, I thought it was a hilarious photo. I'd hang that in my house if I could. If there was enough room, I'd hang it.
How much for that?
I'd empty out my bank account, all $200 of it. I'd pay for that in a heartbeat. Don't be surprised that shows up on www.shop.com. That would be interesting. But no, seriously though, I mean, I thought it was a very delightful romp. I thought it was one of the better segments on Raw in the last few years. Not that that's saying much, but I thought it was a great segment. If you're an older fan like myself and you remember The Rock and Mankind with "This Is Your Life," Rock. This I think ranks right up there. I thought it was a hilarious segment. I mean, so we had I mean, like I said, it was hilarious. It was heartwarming because we had Jericho telling Owens how much his partnership has meant to him and how it's reinvigorated Jericho and made this run of his from 2016 to now one of the better runs of Jericho's career. And I would agree with that. This has been one of the better runs for Jericho. I mean, he's really found a way to reinvent himself constantly. I thought it was great. Now the other thing is, Nick, I want that hat.
That hat right there.
It's very sparkly. I want that hat. It's shiny. I don't know about the jacket, but I want the hat.
You want a shiny fedora.
Oh.
You want to glisten like a disco ball.
Like a like Jericho would say, like a sexy disco ball.
You can't say that on TV.
I can't say that? Dang it.
Well, you just did twice, so.
I can't say that? Are you kidding me?
Unless you want the FCC knocking at your door.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, wait, I can't. Yeah, that's blasphemy, so I guess I can't say that either. No. I mean, we are in a Christian community, after all. All right, so anyway, this...
Hey, Ken, quick question. When's your birthday?
April 22nd, Earth Day.
That stinks.
April 22nd, Earth Day.
Okay, sweet.
All right. All right, so this, I thought, was like the crowning moment of the segment right here. You had Jericho realize that, I mean, when Owens got Jericho a gift, he thought it was a new list, but then you see right here, the list of KO. And then you realize things were about to take a turn for the worse, and that's where it ends up. Owens just assaulting Jericho, powerbombing him on the ring apron, throwing him through the Festival of Friendship logo, and just, I mean, bringing the Owens, the Jericho friendship to a uproarious end. So, in turn, right there, I mean, you think about this. This is kind of like a vicious cycle right here with what we're seeing right here.
31 to 5.
Because again, like I said, if you're an older fan like me, you remember back to Jericho's feud with Shawn Michaels from 2008 to 2009, where Jericho threw Shawn Michaels through the Jeritron 5000, really kicking things off right there, outlining what a bad person HBK was. And then you remember going all the way back to when you had HBK through his former Rockers partner Marty Jannetty through the barbershop plate glass window, effectively ending their partnership. So it's just like I said, it's just like a vicious cycle. I thought was a great sense of irony right here from what we saw right here. It all connects. Get my drift? All right. So that I think really puts an interesting twist on the upcoming Fastlane with Kevin Owens defending the Universal title against Goldberg. Because we know that Kevin Owens talked with Triple H beforehand, so maybe we're seeing something right here. We're seeing Triple H, Samoa Joe, who's acknowledged as Triple H's go-to heavy, and now you got Kevin Owens, who's Triple H's new golden boy as the Universal Champion. So you get the sense that there's like a big-time stable being built in the works right here, with Triple H at the head, and you got Owens as the champion and Samoa Joe. So it really makes you think. And the other question is, where does this leave Jericho? Does Jericho come back and cost Owens the Universal Championship, or do we see him come back afterwards and challenge Owens for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania? That's the question right there. What are we going to see happen? We know Owens and Jericho are ultimately going to face off, but the ultimate question is, will Jericho play a factor in the Universal Championship at Fastlane or at WrestleMania? That's the big question right there, and we can only find out in the next couple weeks as we approach Fastlane on first week of March. All right, so the last little bit of news, for those who saw it, for however brief it was the debut of Emelina. You know, the women who had been built up for 17 long, agonizing weeks, and then finally, when they trot her out for everyone, sparkly golden dress and all, then you have Emelina say, well, you saw the transformation of Emma to Emelina. Now you're going to see the transformation of Emelina to Emma, and just walks right off.
Hey, Ken, I want you to do the same pose she's doing right now. See if you can do that. No, your head's the other way. There you go. There you go. That looks good.
Okay. So we waited 17 weeks for this. And supposedly, the news behind this is that Emma was really not on board with her transformation into Emelina. She thought it really didn't make sense for her character. She was really kind of dragging her feet the entire way. The producers, after 17 weeks, pretty much threw up their hands and say, okay, we're going to transition Emelina back to evil Emma because it's really not working. Okay, I'm sorry, but Julie, I need you to chime in on this. I mean,
your microphone's up there.
Julie, I really need you to chime in on this. I mean, how bad is the WWE writing staff if it took
horrible?
If it took them 17 weeks
Horrendous.
to realize that this character was not going to get over?
Bad.
Okay, you got thesaurus. Good for you, Nick.
Not good.
Yeah, 17 weeks is a disaster.
Okay, the fact that it took them 17 weeks to realize that Emelina was not going to work. It was, and exactly, as soon as she came out, the crowd was dead.
Yeah.
Dead as a doornail.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't having it. They could not have cared less for Emelina. I mean, there was nothing wrong with Emma's character before. I liked it. She had the spiky shoulder pads. She had a new, renewed attitude when it came to performing in the ring. Okay, no, I didn't have a problem with Emma before. This was an unnecessary transition, and I felt like it was a waste of not only 17 weeks, I felt like it was a waste of Emma's time as well. Because she could have been she could have been building herself up. Instead, they took a player off the chessboard for Raw for the women's division, and they wasted 17 weeks of that. So that was pretty much the reason why we were just getting Sasha versus
They're playing
Charlotte.
checkers, not chess.
Chess piece, a potential chess piece off the board. You had Sasha versus Charlotte over and over and over. And now we're getting Bayley versus Charlotte over and over and over. The same women, okay? Because we don't have any other women because they spent so much time building up Emelina that they didn't have just Emma be out there.
It was ridiculous.
It was. It was totally ridiculous.
Preposterous.
Okay, Nick. Okay, unless the next word out of your mouth is a contribution other than an adjective.
Noun.
You're hilarious.
Addition.
You're fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, you're unbelievable. All right.
Yes, I am.
Not in a good way.
Bad.
Rotten. All right. So the point is, this was a waste. This was a waste of time. It just was. It was ultimately a waste of my time, a waste of the writer's time, a waste of Emma's time, just a waste of time overall. So I mean, hopefully, like I said, they will transition back to like the evil Emma character, and hopefully can get her back into the Raw Women's division, into the championship picture, because we do need some fresh faces aside from. I mean, we need some fresh faces in there. We need some new blood in the women's division,
Yes, we
aside
do.
from Sasha, Charlotte, and Bayley. With all due respect to them, they're great, but we need some new faces in there. All right, so that's all for episode 155 of the Wrestling Connection. Like I said, we'll be having our Fastlane coverage coming up in a couple of weeks, in the first week of May. So in the meantime, though, we'll be going back to our regularly scheduled. Was that Anna Kendrick?
It was not Anna Kendrick.
It was Anna Kendrick.
I can pull up Anna Kendrick if you want.
Pull that photo back up.
Okay.
I knew it. You couldn't help yourself. You couldn't help yourself. You had to put Anna Kendrick up there. You have a crush on the woman, don't you? You just couldn't help yourself. Unbelievable.
Kendrick Lamar.
And who's that?
Really?
Who is it?
They're married, these two.
Okay, but yeah, you...
Their name is Kendrick.
Kendrick. Yeah.
Or Anna Lamar. I think Kendrick was better, so.
Yeah, I think...
He took her name.
He took her name, so. So
Yeah.
are we signing off now, Ken?
I hope so.
Okay, here, we'll just put him up then instead.
Okay. So like I said, we'll be having our Fastlane covered in a couple weeks. Until then, we'll be having our regularly scheduled Wrestling Connection every Friday, 3 p.m. 3 p.m. sharp Eastern Standard Time. But in the meantime, folks, remember, as always, be connected, get connected, stay connected.
Get connected.
Yeah, have a good night, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good weekend.
Do-do-do. Can you turn up playback, please?
Time to ignore it. Some things that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it. The Wrestling Connection. The lovers, the dreamers, and me. La da da dee da da do. Da 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 dee da.
Oh yeah!